Okay. Chapter 13, Day 2. What we're going to focus on today is how do we solve quadratic trig equations. Last class we worked on just linear trig equations. Now what happens if they're quadratic? So just like the beginning of the year when we solved quadratic equations, we're going to follow a similar process. We just have trig words in this. For example, solve for theta where theta is between 0 and 360 degrees, okay, to the nearest degree, right? So here's the equation. 3 tan squared theta minus 5 tan theta equals 2. So this is just like 3x squared minus 5x equals 2. We treat it the same way. First thing, get it equal to 0. So just like before, we have to get it equal to 0. So we're going to subtract 2 from both sides. And now we have it equal to 0. Okay? Second step is to factor it. Or we might have to use quadratic formula if it's not factorable. If we're using quadratic formula, here's the A, here's the B, and here's the C. It's the same exact process. Let's try to factor this. Let's try AC method. So 3 times 2 using the AC method. 3 times 2 is 6. Factors of 6. 1 and 6, 2 and 3. I'm looking for factors of 6 with a difference of 5. There they are. 1 and 6 have a difference of 5. So if you remember AC method, we're going to rewrite this then as 3 tan squared theta. And now I have to make up a negative 5. So I'm going to go minus 6 tan theta plus 1 tan theta minus 2 equals 0. Again, we're just taking the negative 6 and the positive 1, putting it in here to get a negative 5. All right? Now, if you remember, there's brackets with AC method. So we can't forget how to do AC method. Okay? So, common denominator here, 3 tan theta, and left hand side would be tan theta minus 2. And this is tan theta minus 2, so I pull out a positive 1 just to hold place. Tan theta minus 2. All right, now if you remember, the 3 tan theta and the positive 1 then gets its own parenthesis, and the tan theta minus 2 gets the other parenthesis. All right, so this is just solving quadratics like before. So we set each of these pieces equal to 0. So 3 tan theta plus 1 is 0, tan theta minus 2 is 0. And then I solve. Tan theta is negative 1, tan theta is a negative 1/3 by subtracting 1 and dividing by 3. Here I'm going to add 2. Okay? Then I use second tan on the calculator. So second tan. That's how I get this part. Second tan of a negative 1/3. I got negative 18 here. Second tan of 2 gives me a positive 63. Now, if I follow my steps, what does it say? Get it equal to 0, we did it. Factor or use quadratic formula, we factored. So we're finding all the angles. So back to what we had to do before. We're going to have to find all the possible angles, all right? And reject any non-possible solutions. So right here, if I would have gotten an error message, meaning it's not doable. For example, if this said sine theta equals 2, we know sine can't be bigger than 1. We would actually reject this answer, okay? But they both worked out to be answers, so we got to keep going. So just to recap again then, negative 18 is down here. This is negative 18, all right? But that's not our answer, because in the question it said 0 to 360. So if you remember, we have to go all the way around to get our first answer. So 360 minus 18, okay, is 342. So that's one of our answers, 342. Now, what other quadrant is tangent have the same type of answer in? The other quadrant for tangent is quadrant 2. Again, this would be an 18-degree reference angle. So this would be 180 minus 18. Well, 180 minus 18 would be 162. Okay? So there's two answers for this. Now I come over here. All right? 63 degrees is in quadrant 1. And since it's in quadrant 1 and positive, that is one of my answers. Now, what other quadrant does tangent have the same type of solution? That's quadrant 3. So again, the same reference angle. So my second solution over here is 180 plus 63, which is 243. So my answers are all four of these. And if I want to list them from lowest to highest, I would say 63, 162, 243, and 342 degrees. That is a complete solution. There's actually 4 answers because each side of the quadratic has 2 answers. Again, if you were to get an error message, you could reject that side of the quadratic, okay? But that is your complete solution.